Hello and welcome to today's webinar. You will learn about SIPROTEC 5 Compact from selection to operation. My name is Michael Mönikes. You might already know me from one of the electrification and automation webinars we did in the past, or you might have met me on one of our fairground exhibition sites where I'm giving tours around the booth. And today I'm going to give you a tour through this webinar. So let's start with the agenda. What can you expect from us today? You will receive an overview of the universal protection device of the SIPROTEC 5 Compact Relay, the 7SX800. You will see how to select your device and the precise configuration you need with the online configurator. You will learn that you can customize your own device at any time with the function point manager. Then our experts will show how to cleverly configure with Dixie, and you will learn about effective support and services that we offer to you. And to make this format a little bit more interactive than just me presenting here and the experts here in the studio, we have our question and answers possibility for you. You see the questions field, questions you place there. I will answer at the, no, not I will answer. I will be your voice at the end of the presentation and ask it to the experts. In addition to that, you see the chat functionality. And in the chat, you can place kind of short questions. They will be answered with short answers during the presentation because we have some more experts there. Talking about experts. So the expert for the chat is my dear colleague out there, Johannes Boos. Johannes is the product manager for SIPROTEC 5 Compact, and he has extensive industry, customer, and protection know-how. And here in the studio, I have two experts with me. The first one is my dear colleague, Mr. Klaus Wagner. Klaus, welcome here on stage. Klaus is the promoter for SIPROTEC 5 Compact devices, and he is a technical consultant for transformer and generator protection. And to complete the round right here in the studio, I gladly welcome Yelica Rojas. She's a product portfolio consultant for SIPROTEC 5 Compact, and she's definitely experienced in protection and automation systems. So you out there, make use of the chance to ask the experts right here in the studio. Place your questions into the questions field and I'll be your voice. Or place short questions in the chat area. They will be answered by Johannes. He'll try to type some answers there. And I think now we all are curious to learn about SIPROTEC 5 Compact and its possibilities with this universal relay. So Klaus, this stage is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Michaela, for the introduction. Today we present you the SIPROTEC 5 Compact Universal Relay 7SX800. We will start with an overview of the concept and hardware. Then we will show you some applications and functions. I give you also here the agenda in the slide. Then we will show you some application and functions for the SX800. Next, my colleague Yelica shows how to select the device's hardware and functionality. We continue with the most important tools to effectively work with the 7SX devices. And finally, we will give you an outlook on upcoming features. As always, you can write down your questions in the chat anytime, and we will come back to them before closing the session. The 7SX800 is a combination of two proven SIPROTEC systems. On the one side, SIPROTEC Compact with its space-efficient housing, optimized for but not limited to medium voltage applications. And the state-of-the-art SIPROTEC 5 platform with a large amount of protection function in its library. This, together with a universal relay concept provides a unique device that stands for reliability, flexibility, and simplicity. What is the benefit of inheriting the functionality from our high-end SIPROTEC 5 family? The answer is simple. The functions used in the 7SX800 are identical to the modular SIPROTEC 5 devices. That means identical settings, identical signals, and identical behavior. So if you once got familiar with one function via the modular devices, you know automatically this function in the 7SX800. And for sure, it's also an advantage in the future, as SIPROTEC 5 Compact benefits from future SIPROTEC 5 innovations and functions or applications. What does it now mean to be a universal device? It is a universal approach which fits exactly to your application. Whether you need an overcurrent relay for a feeder, you want to protect a motor, or you need a relay for voltage applications, instead of having different device types like 7SJ80, 7SK80 and 7RW80, your protection relay now has always one name, 7SX800. This means more flexibility for you. Just put the basic 7SX800 variant on stock and define later what kind of protection application you create with this device for a specific task. The SIPROTEC 5 Compact device has all advanced cybersecurity features on board as default right from the beginning. Encrypted DXI5 communications hinder sniffing and the alteration of device settings. SIPROTEC 5 Compact validates the source and the integrity of the signed firmware to avoid cyber attacks via a corrupted firmware. All individual setting changes are recorded in the setting history log. This enables you to determine whether setting changes are associated with, for example, faults. For sure, the device interfaces have also an access restriction to control the possible access to the device. For every interface, the read and write access can be granted individually for each application, like DXI5, the web UI, or a client connection. But that's not all. To avoid that people can easily modify and operate the device anonymously, SIPROTEC 5 Compact offers also a role-based access control, short RBAC, that allows you to specify authorization based, for example, on the user role. What is exciting about the hardware? SIPROTEC 5 Compact rounds up the SIPROTEC 5 family with the same look and feel. The 7SX800 housing dimensions enable easy retrofit of older compact devices with 1/6 of 19-inch. It has exactly the same dimensions as the 7SJ80 or even the previous generation 7SJ600 or 7SJ50. The graphic display is really programmable, and its resolution is identical with the standard SIPROTEC 5 devices. There are 8 red and green configurable LEDs. Their labels, and this is a new function, can be shown on the display by pressing the LED description button, which is the one where normally the reset LED button can be found. So no paper strips are needed anymore to describe the meaning of the LEDs. The front port can be used with a standard USB cable, where you can either connect DXI5 or the other helpful tools we will present you in a minute. Generally, SIPROTEC 5 Compact follows the philosophy of SIPROTEC 5. The devices do not need to be opened. Therefore, all necessary handling is done either via software, for example, for changing the nominal current or binary input thresholds, or the necessary actions can be done from outside, like changing the battery. So there is no need to open the device, which reduces the risk of damage. If we look on the rear side of the device, we find the terminals. For the current measurement, 4 current transformers are available with 2 options, either 4 protection inputs or 3 protection and 1 sensitive input. The 4 voltage inputs can be used for the voltage-based functions, also for the combination, for example, of a synchro check function, the phase-to-ground voltages, and the displacement voltage protection at the same time. The black terminal on the left-hand side is available if you need more binary inputs and outputs via an additional built-in I/O board. So you can have 4 binary inputs with 5 binary outputs in the base version and 14 binary inputs with 11 binary outputs, including the additional I/O card, the so-called IO60. Another I/O card, the IO50, is in preparation and will give you in total 17 binary inputs and 8 binary outputs. These optional I/O cards need to be ordered right from the beginning. A highlight is also the wide-range power supply for all voltages, DC 24 to 250 volt and AC 100 to 230 volt. This reduces variance, which means fewer spare parts if different auxiliary voltages are used in the various substations. Finally, the interfaces are always on board right from the beginning. Communication protocols are activated via function points, about which we give some information in a few minutes. Jelica, which other features can we highlight?
Thank you. Flexibility and reliability are also present in the SIPROTEC 5 Compact. All terminals are extractable. First, it is useful for chemical manufacturers. Terminals can be ordered separately beforehand, therefore pre-wiring and testing of cubicle is possible without having the physical device on board. When the device arrives, you can click the terminals into it. This reduces production times by doing the cubicle wiring in parallel with the production of the device. Alternatively, as a universal device, it allows you to have devices in stock with minimum functionality and increase by yourself that functionality in the factory if it's required. You will see how when we present the function point manager. Second, it allows an easy replacement of devices. Unplug the extractable terminal on the device so the wiring within the cubicle can be kept. In this way, it is not necessary to test wiring after device replacement. Safety is also granted as the current transformers are integrated in the terminal. That means no open CT secondary windings. The current loop of the primary CT is always closed by the resistor built in the terminal. As a consequence, there is no generation of dangerous voltages. Additionally, we can say simple modification is possible for use in networks with different types of grounding. A CT block with a sensitive input is available for applications in isolated and compensated networks. When it comes to communication capabilities, the SIPROTEC 5 Compact is prepared with built-in interfaces. It is always equipped with a redundant Ethernet interface, which can be seen in the picture represented by the 2 Ethernet ports, F1 and F2. Currently, this interface is offered with optical SSPs. It is planned to offer in the near future the Ethernet redundancy with electrical connectors as well. This Ethernet interface can be used for remote DXI and web user interface access and can be upgraded via function points to support the IC 61850 or the Modbus TCP protocol. Furthermore, the interface can be used to connect RTD boxes using the SUP, Slave Unit Protocol. It also enables the IoT connectivity to a grid edge to transmit all data into cloud-based systems to support the users during the operation with data transparency and increased availability. Additional to the line mode, the redundancy protocols are STP, PRP, HSR, are also ready for use. The support of other Ethernet protocols that you might know from our SIPROTEC 5 relays, like DMP3, Profinet, and IEC104, are included in our roadmap. We know that a lot of our users still require serial protocols. Therefore, SIPROTEC 5 Compact will also support a serial interface in the next step, which could be alternative use for IDP time synchronization. The serial interface, port E, is located right in the middle of the Ethernet connector. SIPROTEC 5 Compact will for sure include all serial protocols that are supported by other SIPROTEC 5 devices like IEC103, DMP3, and slave unit protocol, and in the future also Modbus serial. Note that for the bus connection, a wide adapter will be necessary. The device is delivered for flash mounting. It is, however, foreseen to give the surface mounting option by using a special mounting frame, as the one shown in the slide. This surface mounting frame for the SIPROTEC 5 Compact device can be ordered as an accessory to install it on the wall. Thanks to this new concept, all devices have terminal connection diagrams that are identical, independent of the mounting type of the device. With the distance frames that are used, sufficient space remains for the wiring, and this can be routed away upward or downward. You decide. To take away from our SIPROTEC 5 Compact universal device, you get the reliability of the SIPROTEC 5 algorithms, space-efficient compact housing, integrated cybersecurity to protect the grid stability, graphic display, universal power supply, redundant Ethernet interface with seamless communication protocols as PRP and HSR, and IoT connectivity to transmit all data into cloud-based systems, getting higher grid availability. Klaus will show now some applications and functions.
So thank you, Jelica. More and more power quality problems lead to unexpected risks like faults, damages, or production downtimes. Typically, power quality issues come from circuit breaker operations within the grid, which can cause voltage dips, infeed of renewable energies, which can lead to voltage swells, nonlinear loads, and huge machines in industry that could cause harmonic distortion. Instead of installing a separate power quality device, you can take advantage of the functionality included in the 7SX800 compact protection relay. It provides an overview of the power quality status and trends of the system, early warning messages for abnormal events or grid code violations, and the logging of these events, which is the basis for further evaluation and research. We have implemented the following dedicated functions: voltage dips, swell, and interruption according to IC 61004-3-30, class S, total harmonic distortion THD, and harmonics for voltage, total demand distortion TDD, and harmonics for currents. Voltage unbalance, again according to IC 61000-4-30, class S. With 7SX800, you get one device for power quality, protection, and automation. Another good application included in the SIPROTEC 5 family And available in the compact device is the capacitor bank protection. Capacitors and capacitor banks are used for various applications, for example, as reactive power compensation to stabilize the voltage, as fast voltage and reactive power control, or as filter circuits to eliminate certain frequencies. The 7SX800 is ideal for the protection of small capacitor banks. Larger applications can be covered with several SX800. Out of the big bundle of capacitor bank specific functions SIPROTEC 5 offers, we took over all those which can be handled with the hardware setup of the 7SX800. This is the current unbalanced protection single phase for capacitors with isolated double start point, as you can see on the drawing on the right hand side. It is a function to sensitively detect failures of single capacitor elements, which causes an increase of the unbalanced current. The orientation of this current allows to find out in which of the two groups, C1 on the left or C2 on the right, the fault is located. Additionally, to the current stage, the device provides a counter stage that counts the number of defective elements in each group and which allows to trip the capacitor bank only after a certain number of elements have failed. 7SX800 has a peak overvoltage protection, which provides the protection of the capacitor's dielectric against peak voltages. Since higher frequencies lead to bigger currents, the 7SX800 evaluates voltages up to the 50th harmonic. Then the 7SX800 offers a circuit breaker restrike protection. This function monitors the local circuit breaker for restriking after opening. This occurs particularly on feeders with capacitors because they discharge only slowly after being switched off, and so high voltages can occur across the circuit breaker poles. When restriking is detected for a certain duration, often the upstream circuit breaker is open. Finally, I would like to mention the neutral voltage unbalance protection, which detects defective capacitor elements by measuring the phase to ground voltages and the neutral voltage. Again, for topology, as on the right-hand side. The purpose is like the current unbalance protection, which is to detect single capacitor elements failures only that voltages instead of the currents are used. Here we see impressively that the 7SX800 profits from being part of the SIPROTEC 5 family. The functions we can offer for single-phase faults in isolated or resonant grounded networks are the same you can find for the modular devices. Implemented is the ground voltage protection V0. Then we see the phase angle-based directional protection functions using cosine phi or sine phi measurement. The function mentioned on the third line is a more flexible way of the sine phi and cosine phi principle with a freely definable tripping characteristic. A variant of the phase angle measurement principle is the consideration of zero sequence admittances, providing a higher sensitivity for resistive faults. The transient ground fault protection allows the detection of very short ground faults, even transient faults, also with considerable fault resistances in the range of kiloohms. This function is ideal especially for mesh power systems or closed ring topologies. Finally, we have a directional fault detection using a pulse pattern method. Here the amplitude of the fault current is periodically changed by adding a capacitor in parallel to the arc suppressing coil. To sum it up, whatever your network looks like, or how your user philosophy is, with this function 7SX800 covers almost all cases. To take away, the SIPROTEC 5 Compact 7SX800 is a universal device for feeder, motor, capacitor bank, voltage and frequency applications. Adding the line differential protection being expected for an upcoming release rounds up the functional package. Optionally, power quality, basic functionality can be added, and all common principles for sensitive ground fault protection in isolated or resonant grounded networks are available. Now, Yelica, you can tell us how we can select the device options and the desired functionality.
Next class. The product selection has been prepared in a simple way, as the amount of variance is really low. There is a configurator online. In the slide button links, you can find the link. Yeah, so you can easily select your device and get access to the price as well. First, you select the variant version by specifying the binary inputs and outputs, the measuring inputs, and the front design of the device. By default, the device is always selected with basic functions, which include all current related functions for a feeder. The complete list can be seen when you click on the tab Basic Functions. Moreover, in the SIPROTEC 5 Universal Compact Device, control functions, user logics, power quality basic, and cyber security features, among others, are always available. Do you also want to visualize voltages and corresponding protection functions? That's not a problem. In the voltage-based function tab, you can see the available functionality. You can have all of them by adding only 40 function points. In a similar way, you can proceed for further functions. Here, you have the possibility to select specific functions for motor protection, enable communication protocols, and include the power quality functions based on voltage measurements. As you can see under function points, you have two options to buy the function points required for your application. The first one is, as usual, ordering the device including the function points. And for that, you select No for ordering function points via Function Points Manager. So you will receive the device including the functionality. The second option, and maybe a lot more useful, is buying the hardware with basic functionality and adding the further functionality with the SIPROTEC Function Point Manager by adding the corresponding function points. The advantage: you could have a stock of identical devices and flexibly define the functionality one by one according to the specific bay where the device is going to be installed. Let's say feeder, motor, capacitor, and so on. So, well, Klaus, what is the Function Points Manager and how does it work?
The SIPROTEC family, SIPROTEC 5 family, does not have directly function packages which can be ordered as options, as this is the case with SIPROTEC 4 and other device families. The implemented concept for SIPROTEC 5 allows much more flexibility with the selection of functions. Rather than ordering a predefined package of functions, a SIPROTEC 5 device can be equipped with function points which work as a kind of bait points that can be used to add functions to the device configuration. The big advantage of this method is that you are flexible in the function selection. You can add any of the provided functions in the Dixie 5 library to the device configuration if the device's function point budget is not exceeded. So you can add functions or modify the function scope at any time you require it. Should you need more functions in a certain device, you can just upgrade the number of function points and so keep the enormous functional flexibility of SIPROTEC 5 7SX800. The function point handling is preferably managed with a dedicated online tool, the so-called Function Point Manager. The respective workflow is simple. First, you get ready by creating a user account. This needs to be done only once at the very beginning. To start off, order a budget of function points. This can be once for a project or on a regular basis. When required, you can create out of this budget a so-called DAF file, DAF file, a kind of license file with the exact number of function points you need for your application in a specific 7SX800 device. To bring the function points now into the device, you simply upload this DAF file either with DIXI 5 or with the SIPROTEC tools program into the 7SX800. Important is that you pay for the function points only at the moment you really use them. That is when you create a DAF file to upgrade a 7SX800 device. You do not need to pay in advance for functions which you might need in the future, or maybe even not. This means with the function point principle, you improve your cash flow management, pay as you protect, and maintain the functional flexibility of your devices over the whole lifetime. The function point manager allows you to react in almost no time to new requirements, and this gives you peace of mind. Let's make an example. Let's assume you have bought a SIPROTEC 5 compact device and you want to use voltage protection functions and the IEC 61850 communications protocol. Initially, your device has 0 function points. You need 40 function points to enable the voltage functionality and 50 to allow the use of the IEC 61850 protocol. So in total, 90 function points. You log into your account in the function point manager and start the creation of the DAF file or license file. For this, you need the serial number of your device. After a few seconds, the DAF file is ready for download onto your PC. In the second step, you transfer this file to the physical device, either with DIXI 5 or the SIPROTEC tools program. With the new DAF file in the relay, the 7SX800 now has 90 function points. Let's summarize the benefits. Devices can be ordered at an early stage and used before the exact function setup is defined. Device functions can be defined very late in the engineering process and then very quickly and easily imported into the devices. At any time, additional function points can be created, which can be downloaded in the device within seconds. Function points are invoiced only when you create license files. And by the way, function points can be used for all types of SIPROTEC 5 devices. Janitza, do you want to start with the engineering tools?
Sure, Klaus. Well, we know very well that your time is precious, so if you are new to the SIPROTEC world, we want to make sure that your entry into SIPROTEC 5 Compact is smooth and fast. Our first and more important tool is DIXI 5. DIXI 5 is the versatile engineering tool for parameterization, commissioning, and operation of all SIPROTEC 5 devices, including now the new SIPROTEC 5 Compact device. DIXI 5 is available in different variants: Compact, Standard, and Premium, with various functionalities. With the Compact version, which doesn't require a license, up to 8 7SX800 or non-modular SIPROTEC 5 devices can be parameterized in a single project. Very convenient for small stations. This version also allows the use of continuous function charts to create user-specific logics together with its testing and debugging. The well-known and useful test and commissioning modes and the test sequences are also included. If the communication via IEC 61850 is foreseen, the standard version is the right choice. It includes all the functionality of the compact version and allows the use of the IEC 61850 configurator, as well as the single line diagram and the network topology editors. With the premium version, all the functionality of the standard version is granted. In addition, the enhanced functionality for IEC 61850 is enabled, and fault records can be analyzed using the SIGRA software. So let's see the configuration. If you have determined the MLFB of a SIPROTEC 5 compact device, you can use it to directly add the device into DIXI 5. Make sure to write it down in capital letters. Then you select the amount of function points you need for the functionality you plan to use in the device. Remember the function points selection that we did with the configurator before. And after, you can select an application template which fits the type of application you need in your installation. Currently, you have a selection of 7 templates, for example, for a directional overcurrent application in a grounded system or a motor with current and voltage measurement. DIXI 5 makes sure that the relay gets pre-configured with the necessary functions and routings. All necessary preparations, like connecting the current and voltage values to the protection functions, are already done, and you don't need to take care about them during the parameterization. Just make sure your real device contains the same amount of function points as the parameterization. You use some additional functions, or you don't need some of the functions already configured, you can always adapt the parameterization to your specific application. And the best, after customizing the templates, they can be stored and implemented as desired in future projects by using the export function and selecting the user application template UAT format. To select a user-specific application template instead of a predefined one, you follow the same procedure I described before to create a new device, and when you arrive to the step 3, then move to from the standard to the user-defined tab. You can enter the location where you keep your user application templates and select the one that you want to use. In this way, you minimize the setting effort to nearly 0. In most cases, the protection settings used in a company and according to their philosophy, nearly identical. Some of them are adapted according to special requirements. This scenario is supported with the favorite settings. The few parameters, which are different depending on the use case, can be marked as favorite with the star at the right side of every parameter. If you want to select a setting as favorite, just click on it. The star will become yellow, showing that it has been selected. These favorite settings are collected and shown in an extra page under the menu Favorite Settings, and the user has a central place with a clear picture of the small subset of settings which needs to be modified. So Klaus, now you can tell us something about the web user interface.
Yeah, thank you, Jelica. The web user interface. In the SIPROTEC 4 world, DIXI was the only tool to work with the SIPROTEC devices. This has changed now significantly. Various tools complement DIXI 5 and help facilitate the work with SIPROTEC 5 and SIPROTEC 5 Compact. All SIPROTEC 5 relays, for example, are equipped with a web user interface, short Web UI. It is a built-in server functionality of SIPROTEC 5 devices, which create various pages like the web pages you get in the internet. Therefore, you need not more than a standard web browser on your PC like Google Chrome, Firefox or Microsoft Edge to get in contact with the 7SX800. Very important to mention is the fact that this access considers all cybersecurity requirements. The connection is done via the encrypted HTTPS protocol. The encryption itself is based on certificates. The Ethernet interface access can be limited to read only, so that it's not possible to adapt any settings. And it's for sure possible to define a secure connection password or even a role-based access control. Via a state-of-the-art dashboard, a perfect overview for different use cases is provided. So let's have a closer look on that. This is the overview of the Web UI functionality. Under Device, you get general information about the device, such as serial number, firmware and hardware version, and product code. With Engineering, you can verify and change settings, of course only if write access was configured before in DIXI 5. Under Monitoring, you see the actual display pages as if you were in front of the relay. View the various logs and get the current status of all signals in runtime data. An additional feature is to define alarm buttons next to the display page, which gives you the status of these signals and which can be acknowledged. The measurements show all configured measurements as absolute values and also in a vector diagram. Terminal Assign allows you to inspect which binary inputs are activated and which signals are assigned to these inputs. Similar for the binary outputs, the contact status and assigned signals can be verified. Clicking on the Recorders tile, you can download all fault records from the 7SX800 to your PC, visualize them, and trigger even a test record. Under Diagnosis, you see a real-time list of alarms and inactive functions. This is good for a quick check if really all configured functions are working. Finally, there is a tile for certificate handling and another one for collecting all necessary information for our customer support in case you need help with your device. To sum it up, even if you're not familiar with DIXI 5, the Web UI allows you to read out measurement values, logs, fault records, and other process data, and you can change individual settings. This feature comes along with each SIPROTEC 5 device, and it's free of charge. Now let's talk about a unique tool. Jelica will tell you what it is about.
Thank you. For sure, I really like this one. The SIEMENS X800 allows you to pre-test the device without needing a secondary injection set by simulating analog and digital values with the device as in every other SIPROTEC 5 device. Moreover, with our digital twin, you don't even need a physical device to perform the tests. The cloud-based digital twin is a real-time digital replica of your physical SIPROTEC 5 compact device. It allows you to test your device in a convenient way from everywhere at any time without any hardware and also from your home office. The results are shorter FATs, minimizing of commissioning time, and reduced testing outages since extensive tests can be performed in advance. Our digital twin also offers you the possibility to improve your fault analysis with the COM-trade replay. You can additionally correct settings and prove the response with a virtual device which has the same hardware, same functionality, same configuration, and same firmware version as your real device. The latest is also a good basis to keep peace of mind when doing the patch management. Furthermore, It allows you to conduct training sessions on SIPROTEC 5 protection devices, flexible at any location. In summary, our digital twin is the ideal solution for getting your protection devices up and running quickly and cost-effectively. Now, let's see the capabilities of a digital twin in the fields of protection and automation. And the first one goes to the device itself. That is, to the ID configuration with its protection settings, protection algorithms, and CFC online debugging. Test sequences can be used, and the download of event logs and fault records is enabled. However, the applicability of the digital twin is not limited to the device itself. The interaction of the device with other SIPROTEC 5 relays through the data protection interface, as in the case of a line differential protection. The communication with third-party devices through GUS, the connection to a SCADA system via standard communication protocols as the IEC61850, IEC104, DMP3 TCP, Modbus TCP, Profinet IO, or even the integration to IoT ecosystems can be also tested with the digital twin. Let's take a closer look of the interface. On the left side, you find the physical interfaces of the device as the analog and binary inputs, and on the right side of the screen, you find the device with its reactions in form of display, LEDs, digital outputs, and logs. The device gives you the same look and feel as if you'd have the real device in front of you, and you can interact with it using the menus and operation keys as in the physical device. In this way, you can test any SIPROTEC 5 device before ordering it. And if required, even the real and virtual world can come together for testing through a VPN network. You can combine your existing test lab with the extended capabilities of the virtualization. In summary, you get, with Digital Twin, hardware-free testing supporting all SIPROTEC 5 firmware versions, save time and resources. Protection relay configuration can be pre-tested even before ordering equipment. Possibility to test CFC, GUS, and replay disturbance recorders. Integration tests with third-party devices through the VPN connection. And Klaus, so what about the SIPROTEC tools?
Yeah, our next point is the SIPROTEC tools. A good point, Jelitza. It's a portable, free-of-charge program which can be downloaded from the SIOS portal and started on a PC without prior installation. I put you the link there on the bottom right-hand side on the slide. It was especially developed to support during installation, commissioning, and also operation. During installation, a smooth hardware and cubicle wiring test can be done. It is possible to load an existing configuration into the device without having Dixie 5 installed. And this tool also allows to upgrade the device functionality because it can be used to load SIPROTEC 5 license files, the DAF files, you remember, which were beforehand created with a function point manager. Also during commissioning, you might appreciate the wiring test and upgrade functionality. Let's now have a closer look to the hardware and wiring test. To check the right cabling from the cubicle terminal to the device terminal, so far often a continuity tester is used, where both the relay terminal and the cubicle terminal are contacted and tested if they are connected via the right cubicle wiring. This is a rather laborious procedure and takes a lot of time because both terminals must be identified. Moreover, this terminal search can lead to errors. With SIPROTEC tools, you can now see the reaction of the relay on the PC screen. On the left-hand side, the pickup threshold for the tested binary input can be defined. In the middle part, we see which binary input has picked up, which is indicated by a check mark. So only the corresponding cubicle terminals need to be set under voltage, and the result can be directly read on the PC display. No cumbersome searching of the right relay terminals, which is error-prone, is necessary anymore. On the right-hand side, we can close individually every relay contact, either permanently or as long as the mouse clicks on it. Again, only the proper cubicle terminals, according to the wiring plan, need to be checked with a continuity tester to see if the closed relay contact short circuits these terminals correctly. But there is more. Also, injected currents and voltages are shown with amplitude and angle, or as phasors in a vector diagram. Injecting, for example, a three-phase current or voltage system with different amplitudes identifies if the currents are assigned properly to the correct phases, and the vector diagram reveals any polarity issue immediately. SIPROTEC tools can be started multiple times and connected each time to another SIPROTEC 5 device in the cubicle when the Ethernet port of the devices is used. Sorry, I was too fast. Simply close the contact of the first relay using the output section of the screen on the right-hand side, and in no time, you can see if the correct binary input on the screen of the second device is shown as picked up. No need to go the tedious way and search the correct terminals for the contact of device number 1 and bridge it or put voltage on it to see the reaction on device number 2. Summing up, the SIPROTEC 5 tools program helps speed up cubicle wiring testing tremendously, as we saw with the previous examples. Moreover, the test quality is increased because the test procedures are less prone to mistakes. The possibility to increase the device number of function points and the possibility to download an already existing device configuration rounds off the help during cubicle production, installation and commissioning. To take away, one Dixie 5 as configuration and test tool with predefined and user application templates as well as favorite settings. Virtual test with SIPROTEC Digital Twin for shorter test times and less expenses. Browser-based user interface web UI for commissioning, inspection and operation free of charge. Simplified testing and commissioning with SIPROTEC tools free of charge. Jelica, which functionality can we expect in the upcoming releases?
Thank you. So we'll continue bringing new features and functionality into the SIPROTEC 5 Compact 7SX800 device. In the first step, the new extension IO50 and the Ethernet protocols ESA 104 and DMP3 will be included. In a second step, the support of electrical connection for Ethernet communication, as well as the serial interface with the main standard protocols, will be granted. And in a further step, the line differential protection, the time synchronization using precision time protocol, and the Lloyd chip certificate will be brought on. So we have come to the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Now we are more than happy to answer to your questions.
Thank you, Jelica, and thank you, Klaus. That had definitely been, once again, interesting information about this universal protection device, about the 7SX800. And I've already seen that Johannes was really busy with answering your questions in the chat. Thanks a lot for taking part, for making it a vivid discussion there. And I'll now take care of the questions you post into the questions area. It might be that we get redundant answers because some of them might already be asked in the chat and answered there. But I think then they are that important to have to give everybody the chance to listen to the question and to receive the answer. By the way, your presentation was so packed with a lot of information, so it's already 5 minutes before the planned end of our presentation. So just to give you a warning, we will not stop this presentation in the 5 minutes at the when this 1 hour presentation is over. It's okay if you need to leave us, because you have your schedules. Here in the studio, we are a little bit more free to take some more of your questions. So it might be that we will probably enlarge the webinar for another 5 to 10, eventually 50 minutes, depends on what we have as questions and answers. So let's start with the first one I see in the list. It was asked rather early during the presentation. Can this device act as a merging unit with IEC 61850-9-2?
So I will take it. So this functionality is in our backlog, but is not foreseen in the upcoming releases. As you saw at the end of the presentation, the next 3 steps is not included.
Okay, thanks. Then the next question, and I hope that you can understand these shortages there, because is this relay, does this relay come with ETH BD module? So it's Ethernet, I think, that's ETH, right? Yeah.
Then I will take it as well. The Ethernet BD module is a plug-in module that we use in the SIPROTEC 5 devices. But as you saw at the beginning, in our SIPROTEC 5 compact device, we built in the interfaces. So it's a different type of hardware that we use in this device.
Okay, so the functionality is there, but with a different solution, right?
Yeah, we have the functionality of Ethernet communication, and for now we have the optical interfaces as well. We'll be including the possibility of the electrical interfaces soon, and all the Ethernet protocols will be also supported. And at the end, also the PTP, for example, the precision time protocol is in the backlog as well. So a lot of different functionalities covered by the Ethernet BD module will be also included step by step in the SIPROTEC 5 compact device.
Oh, great to learn on that. Then the next question had been, what is the meaning of RTD fold message in CPAM relays?
I don't understand.
So if that's too difficult here, we might take the question offline.
Yeah, let me just say a few words. So I think we are all not experts in CPAM relays, but from the fault message, it's definitely related to the temperature sensors, yeah. But what it actually means, I think. Needs to be discussed with the CPAM guys here.
Okay, so needs another discussion round there. Come back to us to discuss on that. Then I have a question placed in Chinese letters in there. No chance for me, but I have a nice and kind helper in the background, so I received a translation for that. And the question there was, when will the Ethernet copper port communication module be officially released? might be a question to our
Johannes,
I will.
Jelitza knows an answer.
No, I will give the opportunity to the PLM.
To the product lifecycle manager, to Johannes.
So, definitely this is a very important topic. So we have the electrical Ethernet communication on our roadmap, so the built-in communication. So we expect the release of the 7SX800 variant with built-in electrical Ethernet by the end of this calendar year. In the meantime, if it's top urgent for you that you require electrical Ethernet in the 7SX800 right now, it's also possible to receive 7SX800 with optical Ethernet, and then it's possible to replace the SFPs, so the communication SFPs, the optical ones with electrical SFPs. Yeah, so you can already now order electrical SFPs as spare parts, and you can use them if you need the solution right now. And as mentioned, by the end of this calendar year, we expect also the release of the 7SX800 with inbuilt electrical Ethernet interface.
All right. Thanks, Johannes, for jumping in. That's why we have all of the 3 experts there to answer as many questions of you as possible. And I think talking about this communication protocols, about these communication possibilities, the next questions also fits into that. It is, how can we connect via optical Ethernet, for example, for Modbus protocol? And I think, Johannes, you might have answered something like this.
I answered already some parts, but the question was not completely clear for me. Yeah, so in principle, you can directly connect via optical Ethernet if your infrastructure is built on electrical Ethernet. The easiest way is to use a switch, to communicate, to convert from optical to electrical. I don't know if this covers your question. If not, you can also contact us after the meeting, and then we can maybe have a call or whatever to discuss this topic, so that we understand your question better.
So I see, thanks, Johannes, for jumping in on that. I see that the question had been placed from somebody with the initials MS. So MS, if you if you need additional answer there, just give us a hint that it was not fully answered, the questions. We have your contact data, so we can have the chance to come back to you and clarify on that issue. Mm-hmm. Then we continue with the next question is, how do one reset a 7SJ80 multifunctional protection relay to clear a fault? I mean, that was not part of the discussion today, I think, but maybe you can nevertheless answer it.
I think Johannes can answer.
I'll expect you to answer.
He's also the product manager for that.
Also here, maybe we can... you can describe the question later, maybe in a few different words. So in principle, if you want to reset the 7SJ80 device, there's on the front the reset button, and with this you reset your LEDs, and you can also reset your binary outputs, So if this answers your question, then I'm happy. If this is not fully covered and this answer does not fully cover your question, then also feel free to contact us, and we can discuss this later also in a call if required.
Maybe I can give an interpretation. I don't know why. The point is, now we have this button with a special function which is showing the text of the LEDs, and now maybe our participant is asking, okay, if that button now is used for that, then where is the button to reset the LEDs?
Okay, that could be.
Yeah, but there's then the SX800, not the 7SJ80. So if you talk about a new relay, then we have, the new functionality. I press this button and then I see the meaning of the LEDs on the display. So as I said, we don't have these paper strips. There's no space for that, and it's just smarter to have that on the display. And if you want now reset the LEDs, you press, there is another button just on the other side of the display. You press there and then you reset it. It's also context sensitive button, so whatever is written on the display, you see that. And with that, you reset the LEDs, and then you get the initial screen. So then the meaning of the LEDs has also disappeared, basically. Maybe this was the question, but then this refers this feature we have only in the 7SX800, and in the 7SJ80 it is just press LED reset, finish.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thanks. I hope that some of it answers the questions and you already learned. If not, just contact us again. Then we have the question, do you foresee to add capability for low voltage CT and VT sensors?
Yeah,
Who can take on that?
maybe a question also I can answer. So that's also a topic we have on our roadmap, but currently it's I cannot give you a clear answer when this can be expected. Yeah, so we definitely see an upcoming increasing demand for low voltage. For these applications, but currently it's not clear when this can be realized.
Okay, but you have it on the agenda, if I understand.
We have it on our roadmap, for sure.
Perfect, yeah. I mean, we put a lot of stuff in it, right? And you cannot have everything at the same time. So, yeah, just keep asking for it. I think that might make it faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah, so let's take some more questions. I still see 3 right now. I think then we will be done for today, but we'll take those 3 ones. So when will the Profinet be implemented? I'm from the industry side, and it's important for us using with PLC.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Yeah, so definitely Profinet is quite important for industry applications, and we expect this also by the end of this calendar year. Yeah, so we are developing this, we're working on this, and by the end of this calendar year, we expect the release.
Ah, there was some timing in it. Thank you. And I think that the questions I will place right now refers a bit to, Johannes, what you explained before with these modules, with these communication modules, because the question from AD is, why can't we buy the relay with no SFP modules installed and then choose the necessary SFP module combination?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, our intention was to really develop a relay that is meant for communication and is always having communication on board. That was the main idea. But how I interpret your question is there a possibility to have a variant of the 7SX800 that has a lower list price, for instance, and here definitely I have good news for you. Yeah, so as soon as we have the variant with the electrical Ethernet interface available, the list price of this device variant will be a bit lower compared to the variant with the optical Ethernet interface.
Good to learn on that. And we'll take one last question in this round. In case we need additional I/O capability for a 7SX800, what is the recommended GUI remote I/O unit to implement that? Anybody here?
Could you
I could take it. I mean, I can say. So the first thing is you can ask for a device with a higher amount or density of inputs and outputs. If it is still not enough, then maybe you can use an external device as a I/O box and connect this information using either the communication port that depends but maybe as a goose receiver or as a protection interface also connected to the other device. It depends on the complete configuration that you are having in the system to see, okay, how are you using the existing communication capabilities and how can we extend this capability to integrate more information? So it depends a little bit
Maybe
on
one
the
word from my
configuration.
side.
Yep.
I understood the question that you want from us a recommendation which other SIPROTEC 5 relay maybe you want to use for the goose communication. It's up to you. So the communication part, the goose communication is identical in all the devices, and I would do it in a kind of combination. If you want additional protection functions, maybe there you can take a device for these protection functions and have the I/O separately there and use the I/O to connect this with the 7SX800, or you take a Bay controller or whatever. So we don't have a device just for goose I/O. It's always a kind of protection device, or as I said, Bay controller. So an SJ81 maybe is the smallest one. Or you take another 7SX800 if just one binary input or something like that is missing. Then this is maybe the smallest hardware variant. But basically, you can combine the devices for getting goose signals or contact information or position information, something like that. You can take any device to make the goose communication.
Actually, a SICAM 8000 would be also an option.
Yeah,
and let me also step in. What we could also offer is the SICAM I/O unit. Yeah, so would also be an option that you could use, and here you can, if you really notice, okay, I need additional I/Os, you can use the SICAM I/O unit and can connect it via goose communication to the 7SX800 to extend the amount of inputs and outputs.
Short question and an intensive answer. And I said it was the last one, but we had just one running in again, and that will definitely be the last one, but I think that's interesting. How do I give full names to the LED labels? It's shown as Operate General.
Okay, so maybe I can also answer this one. So by default, the default text of the LED labels fits to the assignment of the LED. Yeah, so that's when you have a new device, you're not forced to add labels, but there's already a default name. And so if the LED is assigned to an operate signal, it would be operate. But you can change it anytime in Dixie. Yeah, so there's this hardware editor, and then in this hardware editor, you go to the front view where you would also in your real relay see the LEDs, and then you find the text fields for the different LEDs, and there you can change the name. Yeah, so simply go to Dixie 5 to the hardware editor, and in this editor you are able to change the signal names for your LEDs.
Thank you, Johannes. So I think that was the last question and answer. I think there might be some open questions still in the chat. I think we have those questions, also this request for contacts. We'll take that. It will take a while because we will still be busy in the studio here, but we will come back to you with answers. Thanks a lot for you staying with us for such a long time. I hope you received a lot of interesting information. Thanks for a vivid discussion, for your questions, because that makes it even interesting for us here. What's interesting to you? I've already seen a lot of thank yous in the chat list there. So it seems like we placed the correct information with you. Thank you for that. And just let me inform you that the recording will be sent to you. So if you think, oh, I want to hear that, again, you will receive the link to the recording. You've probably already seen the download possibilities. There is a compact download list, and the presentation you've just seen is already there for you with a possibility to download that. And now let's close with what you should remember from this webinar, because we learned about these important features of the SIPROTEC 5 compact device of the 7SX800. And you have seen how easy it is to select, configure, and install your universal protection relay. So stay protected, stay safe, and we here say goodbye for today. See you in one of the next
Goodbye.
webinars.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.